I'm Em,
And I'm Lex.
and we're thrilled to welcome you to the Ready Set Coach podcast.
Now, we're not just your hosts. We're also mamas, entrepreneurs, coaches, friends, and co-founders of the Ready Set Coach community.
What began as a pandemic side hustle has blossomed into a vibrant online community crafted by coaches for coaches.
So when we're not immersed in our coaching community on Circle, we're busy managing our other businesses, navigating the ups and downs of life, and of course, recording this podcast.
This is where we dive deep into epic conversations about life, business, coaching,
and everything in between.
So are you ready, Lex?
I'm set, Em.
Let's coach.
I like when we record, we even if you can't see us, we just start sitting up straighter.
I'm like, as I'm hunched over on my microwave. I have to start today with my gripe. If you are watching on YouTube, Emily looks lush and tan and like she just got back from Tahiti, and that's cool for her, but it's making me look extra ghost-like. Like my whiteness level and my paleness level are elevated to new heights right now. So we are very contrasting.
Is that your hair or your skin? I can't tell. They're
You
just
can't tell. I blend in with my white wall and my white door behind me.
Okay, I have to tell a quick Instagram story that I saw. But I saw this guy, he dressed in all black, and I guess his headboard was black, and he hid in the headboard while his wife was sitting on the bed. And he kept taking away like her book, and then she'd like look around for her book, and then like it'd be thrown back, and she would just kind of be like, okay, that's weird. I thought, kind of felt like she was going crazy. He would have things drop on the floor. The
Wait,
girl
he was like holding the headboard, but all in black, and she didn't
was
see him.
she didn't see him. He was completely like head to toe black, like laying behind the pillows in the headboard. And it was so funny. I watched probably like a minute of this because I wanted to see if she finally figured it out. And then finally, like he like reached and grabbed her and she lost her shit and figured out he was there. But I was like, girlfriend really doesn't have survival skills. She would have
He's
been.
doomed. I have random, funny in my brain content ideas all the time. And then I go, should I just make an anonymous random account and see if other people think I'm funny? And then that's the end of the idea. And then it dies right there. And then I talk myself out of it. And then I crush my own dreams. The end. I,
Can we live one of those content dreams out on this podcast? What do you want to start?
I have a lot of like relatable content that I think would be relatable between like husband and wife and for moms. And like, okay, this is one that came to me yesterday. This is not going to sound funny. Watch. This is going to be terrible. But in my brain, it sounded brilliant. So, Sour Patch Kids, first they're sour, then they're sweet. Like doing a real montage of that with our kids because it's so fucking true. Toddlers are
That's been
like Sour
done.
Patch Kids,
That's
right?
been done.
Well, F off to them. I haven't seen it done. So for me, that's a unique idea. So cool. See, I don't need to crush my dreams because you crushed my dreams.
Dream
Okay,
crusher.
what hasn't been done though, to be fair? Like
So
at this
true.
point, everything's been done. It's just about doing it with your own flair. And I have like a vision of how I'd chop it up in the reel. And
I think you should go for
anyways,
it, Lex. I think it's a great idea. I think I want to see your version come to
you want to see
fruition.
me as a comedy influencer? Okay. Well, coming
Well, we've decided Ready
2025.
Set Comedy is actually our next
Oh my God.
our next iteration. It's us doing stand-up comedy. So, and the only people we're doing it to is to you guys. So I hope you like that.
Ta-da-nch. And on that note, we also hope that you like our topic today, which is email list building tactics for coaches.
That was an awful transition. Oh, I like it. That was good. That was really good. Well, Lex, I'm going to ask you a question. Why are we talking about email list building? Like, why is that important?
Sure, I can answer that for you, Emily. Well, first, this was a question that was brought up by another coach in our recent mix and mingle in the Ready Set Coach community. A newer member said they're trying to grow their email list and wanted to pick the brain of the coaches in the room. So that's a little preface.
Preface.
But why email? I think today circa February 13th, 2025, when the state of the world, the state of the X's and the Twitters and the metas and everything is so up in the air, the importance of having owned audience is more important than ever before. Also, case in point, I was catching up with another coach this morning. She's like, "Hey, did you ever get your Facebook back?" No. Your Instagram is not, or your social channels aren't owned. You can be hacked and it goes away at any time. If you build an email list, that is something that can't, well, I'm sure it can be hacked. You get my point.
Lexi starts getting hives in real time as she looks and changes her email.
Yeah, there's my long-winded answer. What I
Well,
missed.
no, I think you've nailed it. And I think to that point too, there's also parameters of what you can and cannot include in some of those platforms too. So if you had certain messages or images or whatnot that you wanted to communicate out, there might be some restrictions. I'm also assuming everyone is playing safe and within the rules and guidelines of life here. But with an email list, yes, to your point, like you have so much more control, you have so much more ownership, and at the end of the day, you can convert that email list into higher currencies like lookalike audiences on Meta, like running ads on Google. Like you can just
Look who
do
is paying attention in our ads class.
so much more than just the likes and followers that probably don't even see your stuff on other platforms.
Yep. So it's important. So let's get into it. I think I'd like to start by, we don't need to spend too much here, but
Mhm.
if you don't have a list yet and you're looking to start, or you hate the platform you're on, let's talk over a few of the options on the market today. Kick us off with your favorite. Let's start with your favorite.
Oh, I hate them all, but I also like that's the biggest challenge. I think right now there is there are a lot of good options out there, but you can cut them in so many different ways. So for example, I am for my business second degree society, I am on Flowdesk. For Ready Set Coach, we are on MailChimp. I really like Flowdesk in that I am not a creative person. Like I am not a designer. I get really overwhelmed with making things look pretty, and they have great templates that solve for X in that realm. I also like with Flowdesk too, they don't punish you if your list grows. On the flip side, there's still a lot to be added onto Flowdesk. It doesn't have the analytics that I would like it to have. It doesn't have a lot of the sophistication. It's getting there, but it has the price point and it has the design. And those are two huge problems that I solve for.
And I'm pulling it up right now, because Emily got in back in the day when it was a little cheaper. Um, to start with Flowdesk right now, their first paid plan starts at 38 a month.
Yeah,
Um,
38 a month. But then again, you could have 100 people on your mailing list, or you could have 100,000 and it's $38 a month. On the flip side, we got on MailChimp, and MailChimp was what I was on originally back in the olden days, but I got off of it because I was being charged, I think, $350 a month because my email list was so big. And so I hated being penalized for growing my email list. And so at Ready Set Coach, we made the choice to get onto MailChimp because we didn't have a big mail list when we started growing it. And I think it was like $11 a month
it started
when
free
or
dollars.
free.
Yeah, it was free.
Yeah, it was
That's why we
free.
started there.
Then it was 11, and then we have a bigger list now, and now we're getting hit with more money. So I think that they have a lot more how do I say that? Workflow
They have a lot
optimizations.
more features. It's definitely clunky, but they do have a lot more capacity built into the platform.
Yeah, so those are two that I've had experience with. And then the last one I've had experience with when I worked with an agency was called Active Campaign. And that was a lot more expensive, but it's kind of like the Cadillac of emails and email marketing. It has a lot of different functionalities, and can, if this, then that, pretty much everything in your life.
I'll add, there's ConvertKit. That's what I'm on for the PR bar. I mean, there's so many. The other one I wanted to flag
Audio.
though is Substack, which is different than all the other ones we've talked about, because Substack is becoming, or it is, its own platform of sorts. Um, it also gives you an opportunity to monetize. So it's a little bit of a different play. It runs a little bit more like a blog. You have to be more consistent with it, and but I do think it's very up and coming and there's a lot of benefits. So like step one here, right, is figure out what's important to you. Is it ease of use? Is it price? Is it functionality? Do you want to go get nerdy with it with the data? Do you want to monetize it maybe and go to Substack, knowing there might be some limitations because it isn't on another platform? So there's not necessarily one answer for everyone. Those are some places to get started. Now, once you get started, you have it connected, you're plugged in. How do you get people to sign up?
Oh, the $1 million question. So I have a few different angles that I like to take on this. I think so often people will start looking to the ocean to find people to join their email list when they've got a fully stocked pond in their backyard. So how can you invite those people from your pond to get onto your mailing list? And this could be as simple as a BCC'd email, a LinkedIn post, an Instagram post, letting people know that you have a newsletter with a link in which to subscribe. So then you can invite them, you're letting them opt in, and now you're having eyeballs on your content. I'll also say utilizing social media platforms and letting your followers know when you are posting a new newsletter and giving them the chance to either opt into join your list by like including a link and or dropping like a question box with like, hey, you want to get on my list? Give me your email, and then adding them manually to the list. And you could tease out the content of the email too. Like, today I'm going to do a deep dive on list building. Want to be the first to know about X, Y, and Z? Drop your info here.
Hey everyone, Lex here.
And M.
And if you haven't heard, we did something pretty darn cool.
We sure did. We launched a completely free community built specifically for coaches.
Say it again for the people in the back.
We launched a free community for coaches. Tell them quickly who it's for and what we're doing inside, Lex.
Sure thing. So it's for anyone from the coaching curious to side hustlers to coaches ready to scale. And through the virtual platform that we've built, we've created a safe and fun space to learn, launch, grow, connect, ideate, collaborate, vent, and evolve together.
Nailed it, Lex. Now, while it's free, you must apply in order to gain a free membership. You know, so we can make sure everyone inside is awesome, like us.
Apply today at readysetcoachcommunity.com. Per Lexi fashion, I'm going to come and like outline this for you. So number one, Emily said, talk about it, right? Invite the people in your pond. Then she went over into category 2, which is social media. So let's dive even deeper there. There's a lot of ways you can leverage social media to grow your list. Emily kicked us off. I'll also add partnership campaigns. You can do giveaways. There's certain types of content you can play with the call to action, the CTA being pushing people to your list. You also want to make sure your link in bio, if your primary goal is to grow your list, put that as your link in bio. Make sure you're being really consistent with the ask of people. Don't say, follow me here, book a discovery call here, get my freebie here, blah, blah, blah. Pick one call to action. In this case, it's building your list, and that's where you want to push people. So there's 1,000,001 ways, whether it be Instagram, LinkedIn, you can, pin a link, use your platforms and your profiles to grow your list.
Yeah, I think that's great. And you had mentioned some other things like with the social campaign giveaways. And I think to paint some color around that, that means partnering with another brand. So say Lexi from the PR Bar and Emily Merrill of Second Degree Society want to give away a free networking and coaching, PR coaching session. We could promote it on both of our Instagram platforms, and the ways in which they have to enter are by, subscribing to our newsletter, liking us on Instagram, and tagging a friend. So like it could be like three different things, but now we have more emails and we share the emails that are collected across both of our platforms. I think that's a really awesome way. And Lex, you kind of talked on this, but events, I think events are truly like one of the best list builders out there and definitely something you should not be sleeping on. So
Category 3.
category 3 activated. So I think hosting events, not just for you randomly like hosting them on Eventbrite, that's totally fine, but also getting in front of other communities and hosting those events for them. And then in exchange for hosting an event, getting the email list of those who have signed up for said event. So I was sharing just a perfect example. I was sharing with Lexi last night. I hosted an in real life event in Denver and I partnered with like a luxury apartment building that holds and houses my ideal customer pretty much. So it was a completely free event for residents of this building. And now they signed up for an event via my email list. And because they've signed up for an event, via my website, they are automatically added now to my email list. So, having that optimization plugged in is also great, and making sure that you are legally popping that into your terms and conditions or privacy policy that like by signing up for something, you will now be added to X list.
And we're not going to go into all the legal implications of
Because we're not lawyers.
things right here because we're not lawyers. We did have a lawyer on our last call say she's never heard a small business being sued over their email list. Everyone knock on wood. But one thing to be mindful of if you're growing a list in that capacity, which is a way we've grown it too at Ready Set Coach, we did a lot of self-hosted webinars and events and workshops and converted those individuals who signed up over to our email list. You want to be mindful of your first or next touch. You always want to give them an opt out, and it's best practice to remind them of why they're receiving this email. Because, in theory, if they didn't directly sign up for your newsletter knowingly, they might be a tad confused on why all of a sudden you're hitting their inbox. So, think thoughtfully about your next touch up, or consider even reach out and consider even creating a special workflow for people in this category that drips content in a thoughtful way, reminds them and gives them a clear path out too if they want to.
Totally. I have 200 emails that I just got from a giveaway, and I'm like, oh God, I have to build a workflow because if I just add them to my list, they're like, who the heck is this girl? I have no idea who this person is. You have to remind them where you met and why they're now on this list and so on and so forth. So, yeah, I think that's great. Lex, what are some other tactics that people can utilize to grow their list?
Yeah, I think this is probably the most talked about, but I want to talk about it in a little bit of a different way and maybe uncover some realities. So, creating a freebie or a quiz or a downloadable or some sort of content in exchange for email, right? So, join my list and receive my workbook for 10 best ways to why. That is probably one of the most talked about ways to grow a list I'd say in the coaching community at large. The reality, though, or something we hear quite often, is people rush to build all these freebies. They build it and they think people will just come. Cricket,
That's
cricket,
so
cricket. And
cute.
we've done this too.
Yeah.
Just because you have the world's most awesome freebie doesn't mean people are going to organically see it, period. So, some things to consider, some things to accelerate that are considering putting ad dollars behind a freebie. I know that's not a luxury that everyone has, but if this truly becomes a goal for you, instead of just advertising your coaching services, consider putting ad dollars behind your freebie and then building out a funnel that eventually nurtures them into wanting to become a client. What are some other thoughts on freebies that you have?
Um, what I love using a freebie like during a virtual event when I'm chit-chatting with people in the Zoom rooms and they're like, "Hey, I'm looking for, oh, I hate networking." I'm like, "Oh, yeah, here's some networking tips for you." And you drop it in organically and it then gets them on your email list.
Yeah,
Um,
so
and Facebook groups too. Like I think definitely Facebook groups are great places. Same thing, utilizing your social media for letting people know that you have a freebie on X, Y, and Z.
do
But
you
when you
mean
go,
promoting your freebie in a Facebook group?
yes, correct. So for example, if someone's like, hey, I'm looking to move to LA and I don't know how much I should spend on buying a house and you're a realtor, you can drop in the chat, like, I have a freebie on how to calculate home expenses in LA.
Yeah.
And it gets people on their their
Perfect.
mailing
So if you don't
list.
have ad dollars, there's plenty of ways. To Em's point, you can
That's some
advertise
hustle.
it on social, in Facebook groups. You can put it on Pinterest.
Mm-hmm.
You know, look at communities that you're in, see if there's an opportunity to promote your freebie. You're gonna have to promote it, is the point here, whether it's earned or um, paid. So freebies
Mm-hmm.
are great. Get creative with it. Tools dependent. It's gonna, quizzes. There's a lot of different ones that work well.
Yeah, I think that's great. I'm trying to think of Lex, if I missed anything in
Yes.
terms.
Okay. So let's talk about some other small nuanced things. So this is going to go in a category of miscellaneous. So some
Category
other
4.
places, some other places to advertise your email signature. Yes. I mean, when you email people in your Gmail and it says from Lexi Smith, co-founder Ready Set Coach, under there, add a line advertising. You can either do a freebie or directly your newsletter. Okay. That's one thoughtful place. Also, be thoughtful and strategic in where and how you share CTAs. One platform that is a really great opportunity to build your list is podcasts, whether you have one or you're guesting on them. Again, if you commit to, let's say, for the next 90 days, I just want a list build, and you go on a podcast and they give you an opportunity, where can people connect with you? Take that opportunity to say, you know what, the best place too is by jumping on my email list. Here's where you do it. If you get an opportunity to provide a link for the show notes, lead with that. If you have your own podcast, do a little mid-roll ad talking about your newsletter list. Think of different places, similar to what Emily said, where you can share freebies. You can similarly use your call to action as a newsletter. Another Facebook one I see a lot too is if you have your own Facebook group, adding, I don't really know what you call it, like a pre-qualifier questions. A lot
Yeah,
of groups
yeah,
have. It says drop your email here. To be part of this group, we will be adding you to your list. So that's another
yeah.
place I've seen it done.
I like that one. I forgot about that one. And then the last one I will add off the top of my head is I find it really frustrating when you are in a meeting with someone and they're like, well, I don't get your emails. I don't know why. So if someone books a call with me, I have a Zapier on that it adds them automatically to my newsletter. And they have to like opt in and all that jazz. But still, there's this aspect of they can unsubscribe. They can unsubscribe if they don't want to be, but if they're hopping on a call with you and getting to know you, then you're just saving them a little extra calorie burning versus them finding the link on your website to get on your newsletter.
And again, we are not lawyers. We're not going into the legal implications of all of this. The last one I will add before we go into homework is being really mindful beyond optimizing your social profiles. Test and optimize your website. What do I mean by that? Play with pop-ups, play with announcement bars. If these words are foreign to you, Google it. Play with adding an actual section or an in-feed embedded section. Put it different places. Put it at the end of a blog. Do a lot of different places and do a lot of different moments where people can get onto your list. Don't just put it in your footer and call it a day. Like, make sure no matter when people are navigating throughout your site, they have multiple opportunities to jump on your list. That doesn't mean like put a pop-up every 3 seconds on every page, but
No.
maybe it's a pop-up on the homepage, then an in banner on page call out, on your about page, and then it's a call to action graphic on your blog, right? Start testing those. Look at your back end. You're going to learn pretty quickly which are effective and which aren't.
Amen. Yeah, I completely agree.
Amen.
Amen. So, Lexi Smith, homework giver of people, what homework shall our listeners have today to take away about email list building tactics for coaches?
Yeah, I'd say depending where you're at, you might be someone who's already on the email list building train, or you might not do it, but take one new action. That's my homework, meaning start your list or pick a platform, try one new tactic, take one action towards list building. That's the homework.
And I want to reiterate on that. I think most people, they want to be a part of your world. They want to learn about what you are building. They sometimes need directions on how to do that. So Don't assume that everyone knows that you have an email list. Don't assume that everyone knows how to get on your newsletter. And because we know what happens with assuming, right, Lex?
With the who?
With assuming?
Oh, it makes an ass out of you and me.
Very good. Very good. We are
Thanks,
listening.
Mom.
And we're finishing each other's.
Sandwiches.
Very good. Okay, we're back. Jeez, this is a slow cat and mouse game today. Anyway,
I'm just really distracted by the glaring whiteness that I'm seeing on the bottom half of the Zoom screen, and I keep trying to look at you, and then I see me. Can I hide me? I should just spotlight you.
just hide
How
yourself.
vain am I? It's bad. I mean, I'm not bad, but I'm saying like I can't
It's
not look at it today.
vain. Anyways, okay, so that being said, remember to point people in the right direction. And with that, we will see you the next time on the Ready, Set, Coach
Yes.
podcast. Ghost of Lexi Smith. Bye, y'all. If you're enjoying the Ready, Set, Coach podcast, please leave a review wherever you are listening. For more information about Ready, Set, Coach, visit readysetcoachprogram.com.